When we experience sudden and traumatic loss, the grieving experience is very unique, and it can feel like a tidal wave of emotions that will wash through us and move us away from feeling grounded and connected to the world around us. Other times, we might feel completely numbed out and disconnected. There's actually a term for that called be numbed. These are very normal experiences as the brain tries to make sense of a new reality where unexpected loss has thrown our experience of the world upside down, and we don't have yet a grounding on what comes next. Our brain is terrible at uncertainty and will make up all sorts of stories, and our emotions will run alongside those. I'd like to share a couple tips on how we can be in relationship with overwhelming emotions, whether they be feelings of deep loss, anger, resentment, frustration, even fear. Trauma and grief together create a hailstorm of really difficult, complicated situations. The first experience is that CPR for the amygdala exercise, and we have linked it in the show notes below. There's many wonderful ways to use CPR for the amygdala, which is all about creating personal resilience for your amygdala, which is in charge of helping you survive hard things and also plays a really critical role in attachment. And so when we lose somebody we love in a sudden and abrupt manner, our little friend Amy the amygdala can have a very hard time trying to make sense of it all. CPR for the amygdala includes using that gentle, soothing, havening touch and playing brain games in a moment where we realize that our mind-body system is showing up in a way that feels overwhelming or even numbing to us when our amygdala is guiding our emotional world. I particularly like to include breath work when I'm doing CPR for the amygdala in a moment of a trigger tied to grief. I appreciate this experience because it's not just downregulating my brain with that havening touch. The breathing exercises are also downregulating my body, and it's bringing me back to myself with mindful breath to come back into the present moment. And that takes us to our next easy exercise, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise of reconnecting with our senses. This exercise is very powerful in a moment of overwhelming emotional engagement because our amygdala plays a key role in all of our emotional world, and she speaks the language of those 5 senses. So this is a wonderful exercise to help calm your amygdala down and give your system a different job while staying present in the moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 means looking around your environment, identifying what are 5 things that you can see, what are 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 you can smell, and 1 that you can taste. We're bringing our system back into the here and now in the moment of a grief trigger and a trauma trigger. So we're getting a double whammy here. Our system can feel like it's stuck in the past, that we're still in those traumatic moments of whenever the loss happened. And so this helps our system ground back into the present moment and reconnect to what's happening right here, right now, which is very healing and supportive. As always, welcome in that havening touch, and you've got yourself, you guessed it, CPR for the amygdala, a warm, fuzzy blanket to help your amygdala come back to the present moment and calm your mind-body system down, while also that double bonus of that CPR for the amygdala exercise, reducing the likelihood of being triggered by whatever triggered you again because of how the electrochemical experience of the havening touch and those brain games work. Very cool. Remember, you have the power for healing in your hands. Alongside those 2 tools, always remember to give yourself permission to push pause. All of these exercises you can find in my book, Healing in Your Hands, and you'll also have access to the push pause worksheet in the book. This is a wonderful tool to use for yourself in a moment of emotional overwhelm to give yourself space. In the book, we talk about how you can use this tool and bring it into your relationships and teach it to people around you so that any individual in any moment can push pause and take a breath, take a break, take a time out to allow the mind-body system to settle. We know in grief, sometimes we are alone and often we are grieving with others. There's a lot of complexities and nuances to being on the grieving journey with other people who are also experiencing grief. The push pause exercise plus CPR for the amygdala is a wonderful healing tool for self and for others. In the next video, we'll go more deeply into the fourth tip for managing overwhelming emotions, which is all about self-compassion. So stay tuned for next week's psychoeducational video. And of course, we'll be following up this weekend with a guided exercise on how to move into loving care and relationship with difficult emotions, particularly focused on the feeling of anger. I will see you there.